Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to another episode of the O.U.C.H cast. Sarai? Squid Squad. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. Very special episode here.
Can I do it?
Can you do what? Can you do it?
I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it?
You can do it.
Hold on. Wait.
Ladies and gentlemen. No.
Oh, what are you doing?
Too soon.
Oh,
breaking news. Okay, look, I got it.
Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have special guests in the building. Part 2. We are in the studio live with 3 special guests from the podcast you may know as Keeping Up with the Nerds. Ladies and gentlemen,
Bryan,
Nick,
Rene.
My balls itch.
We have that effect.
We
have that effect.
Bro, don't scratch and sniff, man, because that's where the vinaigrette comes from.
Spider sense tingling.
ew. God, don't ruin Spider-Man for me, please.
Ruined Spider-Man.
there's a real reason into the Spider-Verse, you know?
Well, that's why Miguel O'Hara was so upset.
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought we talked about bacteria infections, bro. I mean, we had some detailed discussions about this. A little
Yeah.
worried about you, my friend.
Guys, welcome.
Thank
Sorry,
you for
we're all
having us.
chaotic, but it's all over the place, so that's what we're liking
They
it.
have
It's
creams.
11:16.
They do
Come
have
on,
creams.
guys. This is
interesting.
Yeah, it's really late at night. This is actually
is
probably
the
the latest we've
special-
ever done. This is the special for Halloween. so
This
it's
is our
great.
spooky episode, so we had to record it late. Yeah.
You know what's funny? This is when we usually record.
Seriously?
Before, yes, because we would always before we have the way that we do things now, we would always record the skit before we record. Sometimes the skit would take about. We would normally think, oh, it's gonna take an hour. Now it takes like 2 hours, 2.5.
Because-
So
Yeah, because you guys got Scorsese over there. Running shots.
okay, so hold on.
Thank you.
In all fairness.
What do you mean, thank you? First of all, no. I know you were trying to protect me, but I'm going to say this. You say thank you. But every single time the skits come out well, it's like, hey, you know what? They're pretty good. I know a couple people that laughed about it. I'm actually very
Remember
happy.
we talked about on the podcast that we feed you into this tangent that you always do.
No, but what was it? Well, because we used to do those, and the skits actually they've gotten shorter. They've
Yes.
gotten shorter to make. They now, an hour, maybe an hour.
Yeah, because I think now we've known ourselves and what we can do and stuff. Like, okay, if we do it this way, and this way.
Squid Squad, you should definitely go check these skits out. They're amazing.
You guys are in one.
Yeah,
We are
We're
in
Yeah.
one.
going to be in one. You're going to see us.
Yeah.
With our terrible acting.
Live action
No,
debut.
some of that acting was pretty good. It was pretty good.
You
Yeah,
guys
so
are going to get 3 more views. You are welcome.
Yes, we're bringing
That's what we did it for.
We're bringing
That
you the
is what we
powerful
did it
three.
for.
Maybe one more subscription, but I
Maybe.
don't guarantee anything.
Hey,
What-
you know what though? I'm gonna say though that Doyle did such a great job meeting Doyle was
sold
killing it,
and
man.
went above and beyond.
Yes.
each
I told
time.
Doyle, hey, you're going to have to bash Renee's head with a box. And he actually did it. I was like, all right, dude. That's
good.
cool.
That was good.
That was
Doyle,
good.
you played.
The funny part is you
wonderful
went, you're going to
murderer.
have to bash, and he just went straight at it. You didn't even have to finish the
I
sentence.
didn't
He just,
tell you to pause
and you were
between
like,
every hit.
you were like on camera. Oh.
I was in
Okay.
character.
It was solid, man. It was really, really good. I'm excited to see how that comes out. Brian's gonna do his magic on that and make it look good.
What you saw today was the most organized we've been with the skit in the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
Well,
That's
because
true.
It's fun, though.
a lot of the times we come into the shop and we go, so what are we doing for the skit?
Yeah, we don't.
And we all
have an
go,
idea.
I don't know. And usually, like Brian will do he'll do comic strips because he likes to get a fresh reaction from us from comic strips, which is basically where he just does like quick news. Like it doesn't take a whole lot of time, so he just goes like bang, 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 bang. Just goes, okay, cool. We don't need to talk about those. But
Shout out
usually-
John Witherspoon. He's a national treasure. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
But the way that works out is that me and Rene, and then we'll usually all talk about it. We'll have like a concept. Like like a couple of weeks ago, it's hot outside. How do we turn that funny? And so what we did is we made a soda commercial.
Yeah.
Where I drink pee. And
And you complain about my vinegar balls.
Yeah.
so I mean, go check that out.
So if I had to ask, what is each of your favorite skits that you've done?
Oh, man,
Ooh, yeah, we've been doing it for
We've been doing
over
it a lot.
a year now, so it's like
That's why this is a good question.
yeah.
It is.
There's some that we've it's like one of us have come up with the whole idea of it and really proud of how it came out and stuff. Where there's even times where we started to direct our own. Like Bryan would let us take the reins on directing the whole skits. And
That's
stuff.
fun.
Yeah, so those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The one that I do think is pretty. I really like the lightsaber one. The lightsaber one is pretty fun.
Which one?
The one that we did with Sarah. It's so simple.
Oh yeah.
We've always noticed that
That
the
skit's a year old.
Yeah, I know,
no,
but
2 years old. I think.
Yeah, but the thing is that I've always noticed that the simplest skits always get the bigger laugh. When we try to get like well, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, let's make this more complicated.
Yeah.
Then we go, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what?
It
That
made it more complicated.
I'll tell you this. It's interesting, right? But as the person that has to edit it, it's the worst feeling to have when the simplest skits are the ones that get the best reactions.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I spend at least on a good skit. This one's gonna take me at least 3 or 4 hours to edit, maybe, and that's minimum, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many moving parts and it's a lot longer.
Yeah.
So, and then there's voiceover overlays and everything like that. But there'll be skits where it's like maybe at most an hour to an hour and a half. And Rene will be like, yeah, people love that skit more than the last one. Dude, the last skit I worked like 3 hours on. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, okay, thanks, I guess.
Well, it's rough too because when you're in the room and you're trying to record it, you're going like, that's gonna get a solid laugh. Like that's gonna be really funny.
Yeah.
And then you get the laugh in another spot, and you're like, huh. I didn't think
And
that was
then-
gonna sound as good as it did.
Me and Nick always have this thing where it's kind of like an unspoken thing where we try to one up in the jokes. Like he'll do a solid one, and I'll be like, you know what? I can do one a little better.
It's like
And
my
it's
time
just
to shine.
We're
Yeah.
just constantly trying to be like, okay, like who's gonna be more funnier in the skit? And stuff.
Yeah, who's gonna really propel this?
Yeah.
Because the issue that we always have is Bryan has a vision on the way that he does his skits.
Yeah.
And so he does like to be behind the camera, which is always really nice when we can kind of take the camera from him and he can be in front of the camera a couple of times.
know.
We've done that a couple of
I
times.
think that's why I'm saying I think to answer your question really quick. My favorite skit is the one I directed. Was the one with the Power Rangers and the TMNT.
I love that one.
That was
actually really
that was
fun.
a good solid skit
I was
for me,
a-
and
I-
it's
I
first time
was-
directing it.
I was a
Right on.
Power Ranger monster, and I
Yeah.
love my voice in that. It's great.
Yeah.
You augmented it really nice.
I don't know. For mine, I don't know.
what's
You know
yours?
what? More recently, the Always Sunny in Philadelphia bit that we did.
Oh really? You like that one?
I like that one
Okay.
because it was like when you had COVID.
Yeah, when you had COVID.
Oh,
So you were out.
because it was the one I wasn't in.
Yeah. That or we did a parody on John Wick.
Oh, that's
That one
cool.
was
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
That one was. I actually
that took
really,
a little while to shoot.
That did. I
Yeah.
actually really did like our the Christmas skit that we did last
Oh,
year.
our short film.
The short film that we
Yeah.
did for Christmas where Bryan goes insane and kills everyone.
Yeah, we got inspired from what was it? It was Violent Night. That's what inspired Bryan to do that.
Yeah,
Right on.
and he just goes nuts and starts murdering everybody because they're ungrateful for their gifts.
You know, it's really cool. You guys have really tapped into part of the podcast that we've been trying to really want to get into, which is the video aspect, the visual side.
Speak
We
for
feel like
yourself.
that's the yeah, right.
I know. It kind of sounded like he was like, we've been really trying to do that.
Not me, man.
We've tried it a few times, like just as test. Like Angel had like his phone out, and it's just I mean we haven't really been able to dedicate any real time to it. It's one
Look,
of those. Yeah, it's hard. Hey, I'm not knocking it. By
I'm
the
gonna
way.
say it's me.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
a
on that
perfectionist.
list.
I'm a perfectionist.
It's on that
And-
list with our Discord.
What he said, but I think that for me, I envision a certain thing, and
Yeah.
if I don't get close to that product, I'm not gonna release it.
Yeah, no.
Simple as that. And for the
That's-
video,
that's how Bryan is.
I have a little.
sometimes.
Yeah, I've noticed we have that in common. So for me, we've done some test runs, and
Yeah.
there's some good stuff on there, but it's not what I want.
Right.
It's not what I want yet.
You know what? And I've noticed that from working with Bryan and stuff like that. That is one reason why I don't know if you noticed today. I was asking him, do we need to reshoot that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do we need to retake that? How was the light? How was this? Because we have heard it before, where he's like, it's good, and then he like starts rewatching, and then goes,
And then later on,
I don't
he'll-
like that shot.
And then
we
like
should go back and
he'll
go
message
redo it."
me or he'll talk to me right before we record. He's like, "Dude, I did not like that last week's skit," and I'm just like, "It came out good, man." It's
Which
like,
one was
"Nah."
it that I told you that on, and everyone really loved it?
Oh, I don't know, because it was the week where we went to that Santa Fe Art
Art Festival.
Art Festival, and it was
Was it the Power Rangers one?
I think it was. No, it was the Power Rangers
it
one.
was the
Yeah.
Power Rangers skit.
Yeah,
one.
you said you really had a hard time getting the skit together and having it. It didn't come out the way that you wanted to, but I'm like, dude, everyone laughed.
In 5 minutes or less, how did you guys meet? How was the plan? Whose idea? And what underwear do you wear?
So it started on my end.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Hans.
basically,
Haynes. That's what I
Haynes.
wear. Haynes.
So it started with me because I originally had a podcast happen. I created it, 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it was called Tales from the Soundboard, and it was me, an ex-friend, or an ex-friend, and then 2 other friends. And so we were trying to get something going where we're talking about movies and nerdy stuff, and we just didn't vibe and we didn't connect because
It
people.
started out because they recorded here. It started
Yeah.
out good. It was interesting. You guys kept the conversation going, but then when it came to coming out having content at every week, they would honestly try, and I'm going to be honest with you about, because this is my view of Tales from the Soundboard. They always try to push your buttons, and they always try to really go against of what you said on purpose and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then I could tell it really stressed you out and stuff.
I'm looking at you, Enrique.
And don't get me wrong, I do that.
But you do
I
it in a way
that.
that's interesting and that
But-
builds it up.
but
They
no-
were more along the lines of like
They just wanted to push your buttons. And
they
make
wanted to
piss you
push
off.
buttons, and they were also there was like, oh, because we have a consistent schedule. We show up every Friday. We record and we have a plan and everything. They were more like, oh, last minute, I can't make it. Sorry, I've got something to do. And it was because they went out
That's
and
the worst.
did something else when they know that there was a commitment.
I'm
And they
looking
never,
at you, Enrique. No, I'm just kidding.
they never had the balls
you're
to like.
projecting, bro, but cool.
You need like a neon light that just points at him.
Yeah.
And then now you can just click it on, click it off.
Well, I have to pick on someone because George isn't here. So
Oh, there you go.
Makes sense.
Well,
Makes sense.
the George box.
The George box, it's not available.
Oh, not now.
He flaked out. See, George
Every
only
time he's
appears
not
on
here-
other stuff, but on our show, he's never here.
He's not there.
George has been fired at least 10 times on this show already.
Then he shows up one time and he's rehired.
Whenever we come here to record, there's always an empty seat. We always we'll put something there and say that's George.
Oh, yeah.
And we just vibe off it.
Boba
there's
Fett
a lot
has
of little
filled in
skits.
for him a few times.
Your boba here,
Although-
yeah, the cutout.
He's a much better speaker, by the way.
The reason we miss George though,
And he's flat, just like the earth.
yeah, no, the reason we miss George is because when he brings us this really funny dynamic, because the one time that he did record with us, Doyle wasn't here, so we turned that whole thing into a whole little bit, right? Where we had like that songs of what's that one song from Sarah McLachlan and
Angel?
yeah.
In the arms
Oh,
of an angel. And we did a whole to the fallen, to the new pumpkin spice variant of COVID. And
it was perfect. It was great.
It was great.
It just kind of
Oh,
came
yeah.
together
I
that
think
moment. It was
That
great.
week, didn't you guys wanted a comic book character?
we
A
did.
comic book, and it was
You
Sam
brought me
Wilson.
Sam
Yeah.
Wilson, and we put it right there with
Sam
Nixon's
Wilson, Captain
microphone.
America,
Yeah.
in the place
So-
for Doyle.
Yeah.
For that, screw you guys. And
It's funny because we did kind of do that for Bryan.
Yeah, we did that for Bryan, where we just ran with an idea, and who was it? You or me?
you put a Falcon comic for Bryan?
No, we were like, okay. It was the week. It was the week after he got married, and he's gonna be taking a break for
A month.
A month.
so
And
yeah.
So he was gonna be on his honeymoon and
So-
stuff like that. So we were
It would
like,
have been
okay.
awkward to be podcasting during that time.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a promise I made to my wife because I give up Fridays a lot to be able to record here, and it's a sacrifice, but it's something that I enjoy.
really
And
is.
she decided to cash in and be like,
I know,
Like 1 month.
I thought it was funny because we're recording today and our Friday is now free.
yeah.
I told my girlfriend that, and she was like, "It is."
Dude, you
She's
know
like,
what?
"What do we do?" She's like, "So what are we doing?" And I was like, "Oh, well."
Dude, you want to know what
I
my
guess
wife
it's
is doing
date
on
night.
that Friday?
What?
She's
Doing
watching
Disneyland?
Taylor Swift again.
What?
Yeah, so
You
I'm gonna
guys
be
already
alone.
Saw that.
She
Dude.
saw it. She wanted me to go again. I'm like, I can't do it, dude.
Dude, you can, dude,
I enjoyed it the first time. That was it.
It's 2 nights that you're just gonna be walking around naked around your house.
Basically,
That's gonna be
So
awesome.
you're not a Swiftie?
you know what?
He's a
I
Swiffer.
watched the Eras movie with her because she watches a lot of the movies I want to watch, and I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did, and I didn't realize how many songs of hers I knew. And I'm
Oh,
like,
she has
oh,
a lot
okay.
of songs.
She's got 17 years worth of music, dude. I was like,
I
what the
just
hell?
don't like.
I'll
I
pass.
just don't like the
fans.
cultiness.
I'll
Yeah.
pass. I'll
Yeah.
completely
The
pass.
trends.
I agree.
Yeah.
You sent me that video,
Which one?
the one about it's showing Taylor Swift concert, and then it showed what was the
Oh, it was
Like an alt-right
from O.U.C.H.
oh, I.U.C.H.
Yeah, it showed-
Sid the Sloth. That was hilarious.
You said that.
Can
Yeah,
you
I
guys
said that.
describe
I'll send it to you.
What-
I'll send it to you.
describe it though.
No,
What-
it's the scene where Sid meets all the other sloth after he thinks that they're all been extinct, and right when he meets all of them, he then starts going, and then they all do the same thing.
It's
And
the
then they all
same
start doing-
comparison to
Yeah.
a Swiftie concert.
And then you start dancing and stuff, and like doing the whole
They all
same
start-
movements and
They all
stuff.
just start mimicking Sid.
So
you gotta send that.
So
to
the
me.
video shows the Taylor Swift concert and then the fans.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Sid and the other
Nice
sloth.
age, yeah.
It's fucking
Yeah, it was
hilarious.
great.
You know,
Sounds about right.
Well, speaking of like horror movies, I feel like this is a scary
Segway.
Yeah, we're gonna totally segue this into our discussion here, guys, because I you know what? All right, so we wanted to talk about horror movies this this podcast.
Yeah.
We really want to tap into like what our favorite genres of horror movies. Okay, so oh my god, that's great. Are they all like belly flopping?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'm just watching sloths like just going crazy. all
I've
cold.
never seen so many brainwashed women in my life.
See, this is a perfect segue here. This is a horror movie right in
Right.
front of me.
Yeah,
That is a horror
This is
movie.
Midsommar right here.
No
Oh my
lie.
God, Midsommar.
Oh my
That
gosh.
is my nightmare. Like if I'm stuck in the middle of that room with that many women with an attitude, who are just screaming, "I hate my ex."
No, thank you. So let's talk horror movies, guys. I mean, I really
Yeah.
want to. I want to sit down this weekend and watch some. And so I'm hearing for recommendations. I want to know what is your favorite horror movie. Why? Do you guys like the gore? Do you guys like supernatural? Do you guys like the cosmic horror? You know what? You know, let's start with you guys since you guys are guests. You're wearing an awesome Friday the 13th shirt, Rene. So let's get down to it.
No problem. It's funny you say that. I'm actually doing, partaking this month in 31 days of horror movies. So I'm watching one horror movie a day.
Nice.
And so far I am on as of recording, day 18. And today I just watched Bride of Frankenstein. And the day before I watched Frankenstein. So I'm kind of hitting, I get into these modes and stuff like that. But I started out watching like the ones that I knew, I liked in general. I watched like Cabin in the Woods, Lost Boys, and stuff like that. I watched it, and
The
I watched
original or
it. I watched the original, and then I watched the remakes after that. as well,
So
too.
why did you start off your horror movies with Too Fast, Too Furious?
No,
Oh
'cause
wait, that is a horror movie.
No, hold on. Fast X is a horror movie.
So is
Why?
Fast
I
Twilight.
and
enjoyed
Furious
that one,
is
dude.
a godsend.
No, Jesus Christ.
So is Twilight, for the record.
Yeah.
That movie's horrible.
But so I'll get into this mode of watching either a found footage horror movie, which was all 3 of the Hell House movies that I watched on Shudder, because I recently subscribed to Shudder again. And
It's a good purchase.
I just got VHS the trilogy, the first 3,
Oh.
for $7.99 on iTunes.
you know what? VHS is a good.
The first one.
The first one is.
I forgot
really
how much
good.
nudity there was in it. We started watching it
Yeah.
with my 13-year-old.
Oh.
And I told him, "Hey, be warned. There's
Yeah.
some nudity on this,
Yeah.
but I know you're stupid. So go ahead."
Yeah.
You know, the
And-
second one's not that bad though
Yeah.
either.
It's
The second one's not that bad.
Wait, how many
like this.
VHSs are there?
It's
There's
weird.
3 or
There's
is it-
5.
There's 5.
There's
now.
5. There's
Shudder,
95.
yeah, Shudder really took over the whole production of it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's 80, 84, and 90,
99.
99.
99.
You know what?
Oh, and 95 too.
The-
95.
So there's 6.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You know-
the thing is that for VHSs, for VHS in general, I feel like because I remember when I first rented VHS, it was all I wanted was just good horror, solid jump scares, and just in this like no chronological. I just want small
Yeah.
stories, and it really paid off. It's really nice.
Have you-
It's a solid movie.
Have you watched the ABCs of Death?
No, I haven't.
That one's really good because it's the same thing as VHS, but it's like, okay, it's different directors from different all around the world, and they have to make a horror movie based off the letter that is they have chosen. In
That's pretty cool, man.
So they go through
That's a
A,
cool
B,
idea.
C, D, and they did 2. First one was really good. The second one kind of was a little off a bit because some of the stories were kind of meh, but it was good. ABCs of Death. I would recommend that one if
Is that-
you're in the mood.
So
of
how far in the
VHS.
alphabet have they gotten?
Oh, they got it all the way
To
way
Z?
Yeah, the whole movie's basically from A to Z.
The other one which I really
So-
like is Trick or Treat.
So Q.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Queens.
They take some interesting
Quiet.
words and they just run with it. is
Quasars.
what- Yeah. I think
And I'm done.
one. I think the first one was Apocalypse for A.
Yeah.
And then it was basically this woman making a breakfast for her husband and stuff, and she's literally trying to kill him because the apocalypse is gonna happen. So she tries to kill him and stuff before it happens and stuff, like a mercy killing.
That's love.
Yeah.
That's true love.
But she keeps failing. That's the thing. So. But it was good. It was good. ABCs of Death.
I gotta check it out.
That. Yeah.
So do you guys like the like for horror movies? Is it the gore aspect, or I'm not a big fan of jump scares. I mean, I
hate
accept
jump
them
scares.
as a
I
trope
call
of
them cheap pops. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
It's a cheap pop. It's not scary. It's like, do you ever see Return of the? Of course, you have seen Return of the Living Dead, the original. Seeing all those zombies running from around the corner, that is scary, and it's not a cheap pop because it's coming at you.
Here's the thing, though. I feel that a jump scare has to be earned. If a jump scare is earned, then it's a great jump scare.
100%.
There is just something where you just like throw something in front of a camera, and then it's like, oh, like it was shocking. But I feel like when you can get that anticipation into the jump scare, where you kind of go against where the normal jump scare would have been, and then you kind of go against the grain, and then go, oh yeah, now I'm gonna add the jump scare. Now I'm gonna do something that's shocking. I feel like those are more earned and way more fun. So jump scares for me, if they're done correctly.
What's a
awesome.
great jump scare that you can think of?
Insert Jeopardy music here.
I know, right?
I think
I'm trying to
Halloween has some of the best jump scares that I can
Halloween,
think
I think Alien also.
Oh, yeah.
Alien has some great ones.
yeah.
Alien
Especially
has
when
some
you don't
great
realize that
jump
the
scares.
xenomorph on the first one is like right there, and it's like curled up, and you think it's just part of the cables, and then it just unwinds. And
Yeah, and then
See-
it just like releases.
Yeah, and then
it comes
it's
down.
like,
And
oh
that's-
my god.
That's the type of scare that I like.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
more of like background, and if you're not paying attention, and if it
You'll
just
miss it.
and you'll miss it, or it's a more of like a setup where it's like you'll see a scene, you'll see the background, and then it cuts, and then you're just there there's a conversation going, cuts back, and it's like there's something else there, or something hidden that you never noticed as well.
My
too.
favorite jump scare of all time, Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one where Freddy jumps out the window at the end. The whole movie is not predicated on jump scares.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
when
yeah,
it comes,
that's
you
true. Oh, when
do
it breaks
not
through?
expect it.
Yeah.
Oh, when he
grabs
comes
the
through,
mom?
when he grabs the doll.
When he just
Yeah.
jumps straight out the window.
It's such an uncanny
Prime
valley
time.
situation
Yeah.
when like he drags her through
Well,
that
because
small little porthole.
that was
weird.
last minute.
It was a last minute.
It was a last
addition.
minute addition.
Yeah,
They
it's
they,
just-
they
really-
threw
yeah.
out the last ending, and they're like, well, fuck it, what do you do? Fuck it.
Well, no,
do
because
this.
at the very end, Freddy dies, and then they go, Freddy can't die at the end of this movie. We have to make sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were, I think it was like what, a month before the movie comes
like
out. Or
literally,
something?
they just went out and be like, "Hey, we gotta shoot the scene." Just fucking do it.
and I think that's where the convertible.
The
top
convertible
comes
turns
out.
into the Freddy sweater.
Yeah, it turns into the Freddy sweater, then it drives away, and then that's when she gets ripped in and everything else. It's a weird ending, honestly, for such a great.
I saw that when I was a kid, and it made me very afraid to fall asleep for
Yes.
like a good week.
Honestly, the one that made me scared was It.
Oh, really?
The Tim Curry It.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love that one. Also, I just really love the line "Kiss me, fat boy."
Oh,
I don't know why that's such an iconic. It's such an iconic, especially in Tim Curry's voice.
I find that offensive.
as a fat
boy?
as a
Yeah.
fat
As a-
kid, as a fat child, I thought, which I thought was funny too, because I love the original It, but I watched it backwards.
Oh man.
Oh, so you've watched the part two?
I watched
first of
part
it?
2, and I was very confused.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, how do you watch a movie backwards, but
Well,
you just watch
because
the
it was
second one?
He just when the tapes when he
Rewind.
the tape.
Can't do that no more.
Welcome to the conversation, Brian. Anyway, no, but
You're just banging out, just fucking like putting me down all day, huh?
I mean, it's easy.
Brian, I'm feeling you because this asshole over here, man, all the time. So
What
you
did
know
I say, Enrique?
I'm awake.
See, the funny thing about it, I
I'm
think this
awake.
is the true horror right here, right? Is that like behind
talking about
on the mic, it's like constant put downs. Behind the scenes, it's like, hey, dude, love you, man. You're
Yeah,
great.
oh, hell yeah.
It's like in the public.
Oh, but he never talks about that.
yeah, he never. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian never talks about how much I hug him.
Yeah. And how much we
A
care.
little
about
too aggressively, dude. No, I talk
it
about
a
that
hug?
about you,
Was it a hug?
huh?
Was it a hug?
You forced it against me, dude.
Yeah, because
It's like a
sometimes-
straight up horror movie.
Because
didn't consent to
sometimes
this
you
hug.
need a hug.
You're like, you know what? Five Nights at Freddy's, dude, is a documentary about you. That's what it is. I think that's what the movie's gonna be about, dude.
You know, I'm kind of
Bonnie.
actually excited about that movie. I don't know why. Like,
Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah,
Because it's a
I'm
passion
excited
project.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
peacock it.
See, but that's my problem
I'll
with
peacock
horror
it too.
movies because I don't like horror movies at all. I'll watch them, but only because it's a study. So I don't watch them because like I want to go get a jump scare or want to be like.
There's so many good ones.
There are some good ones. Like I love classic 80 horror movies.
Ditto.
Yeah, that's all I love because horror for me as a genre has died in the modern era.
You need to watch Last
Oh, you
Girl.
guys are talking about horror movies.
What do you?
I thought you guys were saying horror movies.
Horror movies.
Oh,
Like-
then Debbie Does Dallas.
No, but like a lot of horror movies, I feel like in the modern era have just kind of died out. They don't,
100%.
They don't know what they want to be.
100%.
And they try to appeal.
There's some good ones.
There are some good ones. There's some shining good ones. Like for me, Megan is probably a good one, but because it brings back the fun aspect of a slasher movie.
Yeah.
Like the original Chucky. That's a great horror movie.
Megan really does give me Chucky vibes.
Yeah,
It
but
does.
that's the whole point is that it wants to bring back this aspect of like, how do we make a slasher movie
my
interesting
thing
and
is
fun?
that I feel like you're just not watching the right horror movies.
Well,
There's so many.
There's a lot that I watch. I'm not
There's a
fan
lot of crap.
There's a lot of crap.
There's a
there's
lot.
one
but-
genre that Bryan doesn't touch though of horror movies.
But I do think like
Oh
movies like
no, there's two.
There's two.
There's
I-
two.
I
Oh,
think-
that's right, yeah.
I don't
think
touch
movies-
cannibalism and I don't touch religion.
Okay.
But I,
Interesting.
yeah, he
Possessions
won't
and stuff
watch
like
like
that.
Exorcist or anything else. But I do think like movies like Last Girl.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think you would really enjoy that one. Last Girl. Yeah, have you guys ever watched Last Girl?
No.
So Last Girl is all about this girl whose mom was in a movie kind of like Friday the 13th. So she's an actress who was in a movie that was in
In a
kind of like
slasher.
in a slasher, but it has a lot of similarities to Friday the 13th. It takes place at a camp, a lot of teenagers. There's a crazy person that's slashing everybody up.
Sleepaway camp, slumber party.
There's
Okay.
there's a thunderbolt that happens and they all get sucked into the movie. And now they actually have to play through the horror film.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
See, but those are interesting concepts.
Not only that, but also they then understand that the only way for her to win is by becoming the last girl. Because the last girl then, after, everyone
Wait,
dies.
this movie isn't that old?
No, it's not. It's
I
maybe
heard
like
about it.
it's like 2015.
Yeah.
Two-
I heard about this one.
I'd watch
Yes.
that.
I
Yeah,
definitely
that's
want to watch
interesting.
this, so don't no spoilers
has-
beyond that.
It
I
has
don't want to see this one.
The other one I've been meaning to watch is Happy Death Day.
Happy Death
I
Day is
love
good.
that movie.
Yeah,
Both of them are
yeah.
actually. I
But
like
see,
both of them.
This is the problem that I have with horror, right? Is that when you have so much, the genre is just so saturated with so many films, you have pockets of people recommending you different movies. Like Barbarian is a good example of it. I haven't seen it, but
I
there's
saw it.
pockets of people that love the movie and say that this is a renaissance for horror.
No.
And then you have other people that say like it's a pretty mid movie and it's not as great as what other people are saying,
No,
right?
I don't agree with either one of those.
So what about
statements.
a movie? Did you watch It Follows?
It Follows I like.
Great movie.
It's a great movie,
Yeah,
right?
it
I
is.
haven't seen
Because
it.
that was going to be my question. It's like, does a horror movie have to be scary? And I don't think so.
It has to have tension. Like
Yeah,
for
sure.
me, it's
Gotta keep it tense.
I enjoy if you were to talk to me about horror, I love a good horror movie that has tension throughout and it flows throughout that movie.
Right.
You'll have those like it plateaus, you have your good moments and then it rises up, and then it falls back down and then the climax comes and brings it back up again. If that tension exists throughout the whole movie, perfectly fine with it. Alien is my favorite horror movie. Alien is my favorite movie of all time, period. But Alien has that
Funny,
tension.
my favorite movie is Blade Runner.
Blade Runner?
So it's the same universe.
Basically, yeah.
It's the same. Hey, we're
Yeah.
right here.
But that's my problem with those movies is that if you look at Alien is written in a way where the story doesn't just bring the tension. You have the setting,
Yeah.
the set design for that entire movie.
Alien
builds the
is
tension.
perfection. Alien is a
Yeah.
perfect movie. Aliens is action and is fun, but
Yeah.
Alien for me will always be perfection.
You know what? And it's really weird because in my journey of, watching
Your transition?
horror
Oh, sorry.
my journey of watching horror films, I always watch the sequel before watching the first one.
That's
Really?
interesting.
When I was a kid, I
You
watched.
depraved
I thought,
psycho.
like when I first my first Freddy movie was Dream Warriors.
Oh,
That's interesting.
Well, that's the
Which
more-
is
that's
that's
the
a
more-
pretty fun movie.
So
That's
then
the
how do
most
you
fun.
watch
Yeah.
movies
Yeah,
that
Well,
don't
yeah,
have sequels?
it's the first one and then that one. Those are the best
Yeah.
ones.
That's
But-
the
and
one
then
where
everything
you
else,
like
like,
were
even the
waiting to
story.
see how Freddy killed the next
Yeah, I know,
person.
and that was the thing though, is that I remember watching those because I was a child that was left alone with HBO. And that's just kind of how that happened. But
Yeah.
also, Bryan,
So
I
Nick
think-
watched a lot of Taxi Cab Confession
I did.
and Real Sex.
Yes, and Katie Morgan's 101.
Jeez.
Anyway, what was it? I think another movie you'd really like, Bryan, is You're Next.
I haven't seen that one.
2011.
Your Next is good. That one. Or,
Have you seen
Ready
a
or
movie
Not?
called
Ready
The
or Not?
Void?
The Void. I feel like I've heard of it.
So,
There was a fantastic movie that came out. It was like a cosmic psychological horror, a little bit, very Lovecraftian,
Yeah.
and like it's so well done. It's
Yeah.
done where like this cult, they never really explain it. Is kind of like out there, and you just know that they're after this thing, and these people get trapped in this environment, and then like people start transforming and start turning into this thing, and then there's this void that they give you some insight to it, but they don't give so much of it away that it takes away the mystery of what it is and what's actually happening to everyone, and so it actually leaves you thinking. And I
Like
think
there's tension throughout
Yeah,
the whole.
yeah.
See, that's what I like about it, right? Those types of movies that have that tension throughout the whole part, like the entirety of the story, it's enjoyable. I can't stand movies that focus specifically on gore. And granted, like there are again pockets of people that have their own.
So just like movies like Hostel.
I
Saw.
don't torture
can't stand
porn.
the Saw.
I do
Yeah.
not like torture porn. I think it's so stupid. Like
You
I
know,
think it's just like
Saw.
It's gore for gore.
it's gore for gore. There's no point. It's like, come
Saw
on.
was a good run for the first couple of movies.
I saw the first one and then I
It had a
stopped.
great concept, right?
It
So
is.
had a great
I liked the
concept.
first
Yeah.
one, and I didn't really like the rest.
Thank you.
But that was the thing, though. I felt like Saw was a thinker, though. Like, especially with its ending and everything. I felt like, it's so low budget that you could really get away with whatever you wanted to do. And then the second one, they were always going, well, we got to go bigger. Well, we got to make the traps more interesting. Well, we got to do this. Like, this is what people want. And it's like, if you just made a lot of just really small movies, make them super small, and then go from there. Like, I actually really liked Saw 4 or 5, where it's a guy whose daughter was murdered, and then he is going through a warehouse
Oh, of all the people
Yeah.
of
involved.
all the people that
That
were
was 4.
involved with
That's
the
a good
court
one.
case.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
like he's dealing with like the judge, the lawyers, and everything else. And that was a very small movie, and that one was fun.
But
That
you
one was
do
really
realize that Saw is one of those few movies that knows what it is. Like for me, Jordan Peele right now is kind of the face, or technically was,
up there.
but he still is kind of the face of horror. Because ever since his transition into making these like horror thriller
I liked
movies,
Candyman.
he's
Candyman
kind
was
of
Candyman
like
was really
represented that franchise, right? But the reason Jordan Peele works is because he knows the story he wants to tell you. So, for example, it's not Get Out, the other one, Us.
Us.
Yes.
Us. The reason Us works is because you have that mystery. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what the ending's going to be, and you have tension throughout the whole story.
It's so funny because the Hands Across America, I knew about it not from Jordan Peele, but I knew about it from Beer Fest.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
Because he goes like, when was the last time we saw each other? Hands across America, hands across America.
That
I was like, oh man.
I think that might have been the scariest scene in the whole movie, because you just start to see the scale.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
you're
like
like,
how big this
Dude,
really
that's
is.
How it's
crazy.
reaching,
Yeah,
Yeah, how far
It-
this
it's
really
not
is.
like the whole movie. To me, is very slashery and like very mid and basic. But the moment they showed that scene, and then they showed like it's like a global phenomenon that you're just like, whoa, that's crazy.
But it kept that secret from you until that
Yeah,
point, and
yeah.
that's why that works.
Yeah.
And Saw is under that same umbrella because it knows what it was. A lot of the Saw movies that have come out recently have been the traps. Everyone talks about the traps,
Right.
forgetting the fact that there's an actual underlying story that goes
Like
behind
the
it.
one that was like done on like Times Square or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the-
dumb.
Or the two vacuums that are in their eye. And
That's
he's
not
sucking
10,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I honestly, I really do feel like you would really enjoy the horror films where they go against the trope. I love horror films where it goes against it. The reason why I was saying You're Next is because that one specifically is about.
Well, I thought you were.
Like
I thought you were
Home
threatening him.
I thought you were talking
I'm
about.
like,
The movie-
Brian,
the
I got your back.
No,
I thought you were talking about Bill Goldberg for a second. I
no,
was like,
but have you guys ever seen Your Next?
I have not.
So Your Next is a horror film where a bunch of serial killers come into a wedding party, and they go on based on a slashing spree. But one of the groom's brother-in-law, the groom's brother brings a date, and she's a survivalist,
and she was like,
and she's now fighting back.
Yeah, her
against
dad
the-
was a
against the
survivalist.
serial
That one's
killers.
pretty good.
trained. Yeah.
And so she's like making weapons
I've
out
seen
of like nothing.
I've seen the trailer for
and
this
she's
one.
like gotten cut, and she's like like actually like going into her own, like stitching herself up, and she's doing all these. It's such a fun movie. It's so much fun.
I mean, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, have you guys seen Nope?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
It's one of my. It's my favorite of
I
his.
think
Yeah.
recently
That's
my favorite.
of like the horror movies that I've seen, that's probably the best.
I agree.
And what I'll say is, without ruining it,
It's hard.
it's one of those movies that you can't help but watch, and then you walk away from the movie, and then you kind of like think about it, and you're in an environment where you are reminded of the movie, and you go, dude, that's crazy.
It was
and you just
interesting.
think about it.
Because when I watched Nope, I honestly did have to watch it again
Mhm.
because I wanted to go back and see the scenarios and see the environment and kind of look into the background and go, what did I miss? Like where was it that like X, Y, and Z happened? Oh, and then you can kind of see where like they put the footsteps for it or like all the breadcrumbs. And you're like, oh, that's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. Actually, it's for me. It's Nope, and then Us. I did not like Get Out.
You didn't like Get Out?
Nope, I did not like. Neither me or my wife. We were like, this is what everyone was talking about. I thought it was just
Wasn't
too
that
much of
Jordan Peele's first movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like that movie. I just did.
Really?
I'll give you a reason to like it.
What?
He made it for black people in the theater.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
said, I made this movie because of that black person that sits in the back row that screams, don't go in there.
Get out!
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
if you
I guess.
if you watch the whole movie, that impulse that you would have
Don't
to
trust that
scream
white
at,
lady.
yeah,
Don't
that
trust that
impulse
white
that you
lady.
have to scream at the theater, everything is validated.
But see,
guess.
that's where Jordan Peele
Yeah,
has his
and-
brilliance.
and-
He
Yeah.
knows the story he wants to tell.
But
Yeah.
and once again, it's I have an audience. I'm going to tell it for X, Y, and Z audience. I mean, one of my favorites horror movies also is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, we did a whole
Shout out.
talk about that on our
I
podcast
love that
recently.
movie
Watch,
so much.
listen to the episode a couple episodes back.
Which honestly I think is a shame because not a lot of people have seen that movie.
It's
Yeah.
a cult classic.
It's a cult classic, and I loved when Universal Studios did an actual maze for.
Just wait till the
Killer
video game
Clowns.
comes out, and then
Yeah, I
all
was
of a
gonna
sudden
say
it's
that.
gonna
yeah.
It's getting
It's
a
gonna
lot
come
of
back.
notoriety.
See, that could be a
lately.
double-edged sword though, because Killer Clowns from Outer Space
You know, it's a
is
good
such a good movie,
good.
but from a production level, it's a brilliant movie.
I think
And-
it's going to either get a sequel or a remake after the video game.
Not a remake,
Definitely.
I think a sequel.
a sequel.
A sequel
Because if you get a
or-
remake, you're gonna get the fans from the old one coming back saying, "Well, the sequel or the original had a charm."
Yeah.
And yeah,
I do like dumb horror though.
I love dumb
Well,
horror.
speaking of dumb horror, because I mean, you said earlier about Saw, it knew what it was, and it is torture porn for sure. And
Yeah.
but it's, I believe, because of the concept, it sort of earns it, and you can buy into it. It's a fun movie, whereas Hostel is just done to be cruel. It's a cruel movie.
Yeah, they're not fun.
Right, and so as far as like dumb, like the current movie that's very popular, Terrifier, right? That's all gore. I mean,
Yes.
that movie is absolutely an endurance test, but there's just something kind of comical and silly and fun about it. I like it. I think it's a pretty fun movie, but I can see why people wouldn't like it, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it to people. But what do you guys think about that? I mean,
I would
production brilliance.
I think it's production brilliance, especially to do so much with so little.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but also I do feel that having those moments of levity in a horror movie
Mm-hmm.
really does a lot for the movie itself. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Jack Frost.
yes, I have.
Love that movie.
Yeah, if you've ever seen Jack Frost, where
Jack Frost too.
yeah, or Jack Frost and Jack Frost 2, where
Yeah.
it's just a serial killer comes back as a snowman and goes on a killing spree.
I worked at Blockbuster when I had to put that movie up on the
telling you,
board, and it had like that holographic
Yeah,
thing.
the holographic.
I remember every
I
time I
used to-
put it out,
yeah.
people would rent. It was always being rented. I'm thinking like, how are people renting this piece of shit looking movie?
Yeah.
And then I finally took it home one night. I'm like, oh, I get it.
looked cool.
Also, a lot of people thought it was the Michael Keaton movie.
Yeah, it was funny
That's another
because
thing.
they both came out around the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So like people were going like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch this Michael Keaton movie," and then
And
just
what
like,
the fuck?
yeah,
And then
I
the
used to-
Mockbuster was born, right?
yeah, and then
All
you
the
see,
asylum movies like Transmorphers.
Yeah, then you see this what is it this snowman trying to have sex with a woman with a corn cob.
No, with a carrot. It was
Oh,
his
yeah,
carrot.
with a
'cause
carrot.
His,
It was the
carrot
carrot.
nose was missing.
Yeah.
So then, yeah. No, I used to work at a
you've
mom
never
and pop
seen it?
I
video
haven't seen that
shop.
one.
Oh man.
Video store.
That's the
Yeah,
best.
and
You
know
might
what?
you might want to skip that one, but
but in the mind of Jack Frost, even what was it, Child's Play.
Yeah.
Chucky is funny.
Yeah.
Same thing with Freddy. Freddy can be funny, and I feel like the movie it's weird when you're like terrified of something, and then he makes a joke and it makes you giggle, or it makes you laugh, and then it goes, and then you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be afraid of this. Yeah. But it also relieves you and it allows you to get the next scare, and not become overwhelmed. I feel like with movies with Hostel, you're just overwhelmed, and there's nothing that's like funny. There's nothing redeeming. All the characters suck. Yeah. They're just all kind of jerks, or you're just like, God, just kill everybody.
But the best things. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. Go.
To bring it back to the Terrifier concept, right? So again, the idea of knowing what it is always makes these movies succeed, and it's production brilliance because, like Nick said, you're doing so much with so little, and it sells, especially when you have that much gore, and you're trying to wonder how you make these things happen, right? When you look at the production aspect of certain horror movies, who's the guy that did Midsommar and Hereditary? Ari Lassiter? Ari Lassiter, right? Yes. Do you guys know about his thesis statement for LA Film School?
No.
He made a movie called the thing that you didn't know about the Johnsons or something like that. It's a short film that he did for LA Film School, basically about a black family where the son is madly in love with his dad, so he has an ancestral relationship with his father, and he like constantly rapes him.
And it carries on from his, his childhood into his adulthood.
That old chestnut.
I will definitely not be going to a party at his house.
I feel like that's like the Dwayne The Rock Johnson joke, where he made a child molesting robot.
Oh,
it's like, how do you make a child molesting robot? Well, you molest it, and then you hope it carries it on.
But that reminds me of
which,
Alan
by the way,
Resnick.
they would never put on the end.
You're familiar with Alan Resnick? He did that stuff on Adult Swim. He did This House Has People in It, and what is it? Something unedited footage of a bear, and it turns in it's like a commercial for what seems to be an antidepressant, but then it slightly gets more and more creepier.
Or Too Many Cooks, is that him?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, but on YouTube, he had this one thing that was very low key called Alan Tutorial, and it's about this disabled individual. Because you never see him, but you can hear him, and he's trying to show you how to do something, because tutorials were very popular at the time, and he's just really not good at it. But as each episode comes out over the months, it starts to become more and more torturous. Like, you can see this boy gets kicked out of his house, but he doesn't tell you he got kicked out, but he's out in the street somewhere and he's trying to do a tutorial, but all the meanwhile, like, his situation is changing, and at one point it ends with him in this room when there's all this weird, like, undulating weirdness, and yet he's still trying to do a tutorial through all of this, and you're freaked out by this. I mean, it's scary in a way that I can't describe it, but it just feels being done in that same vein as you just mentioned. And I like that sort of thing, where it just comes out of left field and you're like asking, what is that about? I love that.
And those are, there's a lot of horror movies that are like that. I also do like a good horror movie where you don't know it's a horror movie until it's kind of too late. But for like Midsommar, I thought it was too much. I didn't like it. I honestly got bored. I really did get bored with like Midsommar. Like, I get it, they're creepy. Okay, they're gonna do a ritual, then they have sex with a bear. I mean,
that old chestnut.
I mean,
it worked for Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah, right? It works for Baldur's Gate. I mean, people having sex with bears all the time there.
But see, this is why I'm excited for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Because you want to see bear sex?
No.
I want you inside me.
Whatever floats your boat, dude. You don't have, no judgment here, buddy.
Animatronic bear sex.
To see bears have sex, you don't have to.
Hey, I'm taking some of my students to watch that movie, man.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am actually. I work in a special education school, and these kids are a little bit older, and so
parents that makes sense.
Yeah, parents are like, you can take them. I've already asked permission, so I'm gonna take them
to go watch Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting though. I told the parents I'm gonna wait until I can read the reviews. Like there's a website like where parents kind of rate it and tell you like sort of the extreme
whether or not it's appropriate.
Well, it's PG-13.
But PG-13 crosses the line sometimes.
Yeah.
So
it's especially these days.
Yeah, I still think it's super funny when I walked into Deadpool and I saw like 5-year-olds.
Oh, dude, I took my kid to that.
He made that mistake.
My kid at the time was like 16, and I felt very awkward Like with my
It
16-year-old
was
during that
great.
whole prolonged sex scene.
Yeah.
I was
Deadpool.
like, I'm just like with my kid. I'm like,
I know, but that was my thing though. Is that I was like, I remember watching it and watching parents walk in with their kids and going,
Yeah.
"They're not going to be here long." And then the movie starts, and then right when it gets to the sex scene, they're just like, "And we're gonna get up and we're gonna walk out," and they just walked out and then try to complain to the manager. But
It's
but
rated
It's a
R.
rated R movie.
It's rated R,
It's a rated R. It's like, oh man, you should have known. What this
And
was.
it's Deadpool.
And
And you know it's Deadpool, right? Like,
I was walking out of the theater after the movie ended, and I was walking out with my friends, and I remember seeing a little kid talking his mom into the movie, watching it and stuff, and she's like, "Well, it's rated R, right?" He goes, "Yeah, it's only for violence," and they're walking in the theater and stuff like
you
that.
didn't stop him?
No,
Bad Renee.
let that happen.
No, I was
No
like, no,
cookie for
let
you.
no, I
the
was
boy
like-
watch.
Yeah, no, I was kind of like, no, this kid's gonna reap what he sows.
Let him
She's
cook.
gonna like, yeah.
That's her fault.
Yeah.
She, I
And,
mean,
and that's our listener number 12.
That, you know what? The funny thing is that actually I did that with Scary Movie 1.
Oh, really?
I was able to convince my mom to buy me and my brother tickets to go see Scary Movie 1, and she sat in the movie and watched it. And she was like, "Okay, cool. It's just a regular slasher and it's a comedy." And then she goes, "The moment that I knew I should have taken you out of the movie
The
is
jizz scene.
the jizz scene." That's when she was like,
didn't I go see Scary Movie with you? I remember you laughing really hard at that scene for some reason.
I don't, maybe.
because I remember watching it here at the Village. I watched it here at the
We
Village.
watched it at
Bianchi.
Bianchi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did go together. We
Yeah.
did see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember her going, I really knew I should have taken you out of the movie, but at that point, I mean, we'd already been sitting here for an hour.
It's like the
You're
It's
mistake.
like the end of the
point?
film. Yeah.
It's
It's
like
like-
the end of the movie. She's like, well, I mean, you've already seen so much.
It's like the mistake I did yesterday with VHS. I'm like, oh, I forgot about the "I like you" thing, and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
my 13-year-old daughter, I'm like,
that scene. Yeah. No, like.
it's a
Yeah.
great little clip, but it's like it's a very So he
Very
watched, and my wife is on the other
gratuitous.
couch. She's like, whose idea was it to watch this? I go, it's okay. I
Yeah.
told him
What doesn't
Dude,
help is that
let
is
the
that-
boy-
is that you
I'm sorry, I
hear
keep on
the
thinking
sound.
of Will Ferrell. Let
Yeah.
the boy watch.
I'm like, dude, you don't think my son does not watch Pornhub on the fucking phone?
Seriously,
Get the
right.
fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
It's
only
like
that, but
those
also
weird
I-
sadists who are like, "Oh yeah, you should watch Human Centipede."
Nope.
Why?
I'm out.
Why?
No.
Why would you
I'm out.
recommend this
I mean,
movie?
I mean, if you're really gonna recommend a terrible movie like that, just do like the Serbian film.
No.
Oh yeah, that movie is.
If you're gonna
just,
do a terrible movie like that,
yeah.
then just do like Serbian film or Poughkeepsie Tapes.
No,
that definitely
Anything.
falls on the spectrum of like just torturous movie. That movie does not. That
I pass.
has
Horror
no right to
movies
exist.
Are trying to send messages, and I think that's why it's failing. Like it's just trying to be a special snowflake at this point, going like, guys, look, here's my horror movie that has a deeper meaning, and that meaning has a deeper meaning.
Well, that's
Which
the-
is bullshit. Because look, let's be honest. Why are horror movies made? First of all, because they're cash cows.
Yeah.
They're the number one bestseller. Name all the big top directors:
Add
James
another layer
Cameron,
to it.
everything else.
Horror
They're the
movies.
cheapest to make.
Oh, yes. They're,
Yeah. No, they're the cheapest to make.
super cheap.
So you get creative people like James Cameron, who did Piranha
James
as their first film, and you make it dirt cheap, makes it
James
great.
Gunn made Slither.
Yeah, James Gunn made Slither. Exactly.
But I forget. where
Zack
did that-
Snyder directed Night of the
Dawn of-
Living.
Dawn of
Donna
the
did
Dead.
it. Donna did. Yeah,
I like
That's
that
a
movie. I
fantastic
like
movie.
Dawn of the
No,
I
Dead.
love Dawn of
There's
the Dead.
nothing wrong with
There's
it.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
with it, but what we're saying is basically you get these creative people to come in and actually create these horror movies and make them great
Yeah.
on a short budget or a low budget, and then make a lot of money. So the investment is minimal and the return is high. So studios gonna be like, make another one.
Yeah,
Smile.
My
Peter
Smile.
Jackson did Brain Dead.
Brain Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great movie
That's a great movie.
with the fucking monkey,
It's
spider
'cause
monkey.
horror is an easy genre to get into.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
cheap. It's
It's
easy
cheap,
to
it's
do.
quick, it's easy.
I honestly feel like THX is a horror film. Like, have you ever seen George Lucas's THX?
Yeah.
I had it, yeah.
It has its moments. Yeah.
It's more of like a psychological than anything else, because I mean, if you watch it as like a serious movie, it's just boring. It's just a boring movie.
Yeah.
But if you watch it as like kind of like a horror film, it's pretty good.
Overall, excited for Five Nights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5
I'm gonna
Nights
watch
is-
it with my kids, so I'm in.
One of my parents, she asked me, "Do you think Five Nights at Freddy's is a good movie for a 5-year-old?" And I went, "No, you probably should not watch that movie."
5-year-olds shouldn't be watching horror movies. Period.
5-year-olds shouldn't be going into PG-13 movies.
You know what? I actually have a kindergartner, and his favorite horror film is Halloween. Mom and Dad
My
showed
son-
him Halloween early on.
My son.
Same thing with what was it with Nightmare on Elm Street? He has all of the things. Scream.
My son costume this year, we wanted him to be something like a superhero. We showed him all this other stuff. Last year he was Spider-Man and so on and so on. So we were trying to get him to that, and he's like, no, I want to be Ghostface. So he actually, we couldn't convince him otherwise. He's fucking Ghostface.
No, this is where Angel hates me, because then they get into child development, because that's kind of my jam.
Here we go.
Like,
good night, everybody.
Yeah, when you're 5 years old, like, I mean, the processes that are like shaping that child, they may come out okay watching horror movies. I came out okay watching horror movies when I was like 6 or 7.
Same.
But
I failed.
But you're really rolling the dice on it. Like at that point in development, it's a very complex things that are happening. Yeah, they're cheap scares and cheap stuff, but explaining like why that isn't real and why it is that's kind of scaring you, why that might be even exciting. Those are a lot of scary things that happen there. And at 5, 6, 7 years old, it's something that you shouldn't have to explain to a kid just yet. Wait till they're like 10.
But my thing is that, because early on, my dad, I think when I was like 5 or 6, he started like showing me R-rated movies. And the thing was, he sat me and my brother down.
That explains so much.
But the thing is that he sat both of us down, and he specifically said, "This is make believe."
Yeah, that's what we do with our kids.
This is not real. This is not something that you mimic at school. This is not something that you do to your friends. This is not anything else. And at any point, I hear from a teacher that you are repeating the language, repeating what's going on in these movies. We're gonna stop. You won't be able to watch another movie until you're 16, until you're able to. And you know what? Honestly, I listened. I
Dude,
watched.
he gave you a whole speech. My dad just said, these are great stories. Don't be stupid. I grew up with action movies.
Because my dad wanted to watch movies. He has a really funny story about, apparently we went to Blockbuster, and then I went, "Dad, this is a movie you love. You're gonna love." And then he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "It has sex, violence, blood. You're gonna love this movie." And I was like 5. And then like apparently there was an old lady there just going like. I was like, what, man?
See, I watched.
It sounds like a movie I'm gonna want to watch.
I watched action
right.
movies when I was like 5, 6 years old, but it was all in Spanish on Telemundo. And like my dad would have me
El
watch,
vampiro te por ocho.
my dad would watch, or I watched Scarface when I was a kid, and my dad was just like, "Don't do drugs," or like Terminator. It's all fake.
My dad showed me Terminator. He showed me Casino. His favorite movie is Casino and Scarface. Yeah. So I mean that's where that comes from. But my thing is that I feel like what parents aren't doing now, which is a shame, which, good thing that you are, is having that conversation.
It's harder though. I'm going to tell
you
you
have to
why.
communicate with them.
But it's harder because, I mean, before, think of how we experienced entertainment. There was a communal space for it, like the living room. But that's not how it's happening anymore. And kids now have access, through their pads or through their phones, and it's very private, and it's happening in smaller circles within their friends.
And you know what? And that is a good point, and that's why I'm saying. It was interesting because when my dad did that with me, my dad sat down and watched the movie with me. My dad sat down and watched a TV show with me. And so he knew what I was watching. He sat down and watched it. Mind you, he didn't sit down and watch like Cartoon Network with me. Now he's like, I don't know where you like all these Japanese anime, which that's where I got that from. But Simba.
You're the one who got me into that one, you bastard. This jerk here goes, "Here, you're gonna like this." When we were kids, enjoy. I took Urusoko Dochi home. I watched it and I came back to him and I said, "What is this? What? I don't understand this."
He also asked me to borrow some more
dude.
Kleenex for some reason. I don't know why.
But that's my thing, though, is that I feel like that is part of child development. Having that conversation, having that ability to then say, this is a movie that we watch together, or this is a movie that we are going to enjoy as a family, but also understanding what it is.
Yeah.
That it is an art form, that it is a Pete, that it is something that you can, not to mimic, not to do anything else. Because I do feel kids see it on TV and then they go like, I'm going to go ahead and do that at school.
Well, I think when it comes down to it, it's up to the parents to decide when that's okay. Yeah. And I will never argue against against that. But I will say though that you're always going to be rolling the dice on that aspect. I always believe that. I personally believe that.
I'd just like to say how Nick is talking about child development as a responsible adult, yet he's the guy on Keeping Up with the Nerds putting post-it notes on people and scarring them forever. Nope, you're done.
we can't.
You're done.
We were actually-
Yeah, we got to
No,
wrap it
that-
up. That's
no.
why I'm
Mic
trying
drop.
to cut it.
Mic drop.
That's it. We're ending it with that.
News.
It's been a while, but this is like our Halloween episode, so we gotta get this one in there because it is the perfect.
That's what she
theme.
said.
And so, you guys, I don't know if you guys have heard of Doyle News, but just put your seatbelts on and get ready.
This is
world
where you
famous
find out the
Doyle
real-
News.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where you find out the real
I got
deal.
questions already. Okay. This article says, bloody mess. We failed our twin babies with their first Halloween costumes. I was terrified. People thought they were tampons. Let that sink in. Says a mom shared that the Halloween outfit she had planned for her babies didn't turn out as planned. She face-palmed once she realized what a terrible mistake she had made. It says Jessica, a mom of 3, explains she realized she made a mistake with her baby's Halloween costumes. She face-palmed when she reflected on the costume idea. Jessica shared a video with over 2.9 million TikTok followers. The mom of 3 recalled the mistake and laughed as she remembered what a bad idea it was. Thinking about how badly we failed our twin babies' first Halloween costume, she said. She revealed that she wrapped her twin babies in bandages stained with red to mimic blood. It did not turn out as we expected. I was terrified, she said. The mom explained her vision that turned haywire. The initial idea was for them to be cute baby mummies.
Why the red?
Yeah, why the red? Why the
Mummies
blood?
don't have blood.
Mummies don't have blood. They're dried up, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
Somebody needs
Where's
to go back to school.
who wrote this?
I know. I'm,
Where's this
I'm-
article from?
Where's the article from?
Source
The
The
Sun.
Sun.
Of
Yeah.
course it is.
had to be the Sun.
I was like, it
It's
can't
either
be
the Daily
That or
Mirror,
National Enquirer.
Daily Mirror, National Enquirer, or the Sun.
Honestly, that's a hack job, dude. The Sun doesn't know how to write an article.
No, they don't.
I blame public schools.
I blame
Not that it's the teacher's fault. It's just that everyone's dumb in public school. I went to public school.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on this show.
I mean, A for resourcefulness though, right? I mean, she used what tampons? Is that what I
No,
understood?
she used bandages
And it made it look
like tampons, like they were just giant tampons.
Got it.
Looking at tampons.
Thanks, Mom. When I was a
Thanks,
baby, I walked around as a tampon.
Life matters.
I was the Sultan of Agrabah.
That's why I'm all for burning books.
Oh
Because
my
then we can
God.
get more stories just like that.
But that's the end of this little shindig. God damn it. What time is it? And I work
12.
in the morning. I hate you guys.
12, 11. I'm working.
I enjoyed this. I really did. We got to do this again sometime.
Yeah, this was fun.
This was fun. This is the part where we actually sign off and just give a little reminiscence of everyone in the room and just talk about
shout outs to do like real ones.
shout outs and all that stuff. So you guys you can start from over there and then start over here.
Shout
Or
outs
actually
is-
over here and then we'll go this way actually. Renee, go first.
So I just sign off. and
Whatever
just-
you want to say.
All right.
Whatever you want to plug.
All right. My name's Rene. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Rene Bravo.
And what's your OnlyFans?
That is in development right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Cake on cake.
Nice.
Are you going to show pictures of feet?
Forgot to talk about cake on cake. Okay.
We're not talking about kick on kick.
Toes
Go
on
back-
toes.
Go to the Keeping Up with the Nerds podcast so that we can find out more about Cake on Cake.
Yeah, I think it's like 167. is when we talked
167 is
about.
when we started it. We've
Yeah.
been talking about it. We've been brainstorming, workshopping.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out.
Nice.
What was it? Find us at keepingupwiththenerds.com, Keeping Up with the Nerds on YouTube, Podbean, and all the anywhere else you can find your audio sources of that. Also, check in with us this month. It is going to be the beginning of November coming up, which is our month of guests.
Nice.
So check us out. We have all that, and then also I believe our compilation of skits is also coming out, right?
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, more work for me, right?
That was something that's supposed to happen.
That's supposed to happen, dude.
You know what's funny? I was actually going to mention that you guys should do like a little compilation. So
Wait,
to
that's
people
the
that
plan.
pitch in,
It's
but
just there's a lot. Every time, no, don't point fingers. Every time that like there's a plan for something, we always do more, and it just gets pushed back. So it's like and then I got to go home after this and take a quiz and edit another thing for class, and
Fun.
so I'm not sleeping till maybe 2-3 in the morning.
And then touch himself.
Brian, go
Not
ahead.
in that
Yeah, my
order.
name is Bryan. I'm one of the 3 nerds, the one that constantly gets bullied by Nick over here. Yeah, follow us on our socials, our website, keepitupwiththenerds.com. We got our YouTube channel where we do the skits. That's the only place you guys can see them. Follow us on our audio platforms. And then my personal Instagram, Turtles, TURTLEZ, Bryan, BRYAN. That's where you guys can find me. I don't post many pictures, but I do post stories every now and then about film.
and a nude once in a while.
Yeah, don't tell it. Don't inspire Nick.
On cake.
I don't know what that is, but I'm going to second that.
We'll tell you after.
Nice. Enrique?
Yeah, well, I'm Enrique, and this has been fun. It was really great to be on your guys' show. It's awesome that you had us on ours, and the skit. Looking forward to seeing the final product once you guys post it on YouTube. And I feel Brian's like my spirit animal, man. Because I feel like I'm
Because there's
bullied
someone
by
out
this
there
guy
like
over here all the
me.
time.
Dude, I'm emotionally drained today, man.
Yeah, you know, like all the time, this guy here. But you know, hey. It's me though, right? I'm the one. I'm the one.
You're the one.
You're the problem.
I'm the problem.
We all,
I'm
need
the
to stop
problem.
we all need to stop pointing fingers. You're the problem.
You're the problem. The Doyle?
I'm just happy you guys are targeting the black guy. Anyway,
Well, you met your social fate on the skit, so hey, there you go. They turned you into a
I did.
murderer.
You guys are gonna have to check that skit out because it's gonna be phenomenal. Are you guys going to
LA Comic Con.
LA Comic Con?
That's the plan.
So if you guys are going to be at LA Comic Con, you got to come and meet Keeping Up with the Nerds. These guys are amazing. These guys are awesome. Their podcast is fantastic and phenomenal.
I'm not a
Thank you
fan.
guys.
You're not a fan of anything.
I know. Especially this show.
You're an only fan.
That's a straight up lie. You're the one that initiated the crossover.
Fact.
It's always my plan. It's always my plan.
If he says he hates it, he really loves
So
it.
as Angel's talking in our podcast, you just got to keep on bleeping as he's talking.
Yeah, basically. Just the whole thing. Sorry, guys.
It's gonna be a giant bleep.
That's why we can have nice things, Angel.
So
He actually cussed less on our podcast than yours.
Wow.
Right? Did you notice that? I noticed that too.
I noticed it too.
What a jerk.
I noticed it too.
Semmerfestius tubnoideus buttcloyd. There. Check us out on ouchcast.com for everything. We also have a link to Friends of Ouch, which is Keeping Up with the Nerds. And remember, never make eye contact while eating a banana. Good night, everybody.